So, yeah, I guess let's get started. It's 05. That's our usual proper start time after everyone joined. So, welcome everyone to the 23rd community call for Guild in our little guild. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we'll be covering usual product updates and then community updates as well. Um, just a little teaser of what we're talking about today. A bunch of smaller UI updates that I hope you'll appreciate. They're really useful ones. New supported chains again. Our new secret little feature that 4,000 of you already found, which is insane. It's called Guild Pins. We'll talk about it later. And some community activations with Decentragora's Alto cards, and quite some community updates on the server and everything else. So, yeah, let's jump head first into it. The usual disclaimer: the session's being audio recorded, and we'll be putting it up on our YouTube so that if you miss it or you'd like to listen to the product ASMR again, you can anytime. If you miss a session, it's always on our YouTube. You can check that out there. Okay, so let's get ahead of ourselves into the land of Guild as a product. Um, a few things to mention today. One of which, or the first of which, is an improved checkout flow experience. I know we talked about this last time as well, but now it even evolved a little bit more from that. Before I explain, let me just give the heads up that, as usual, the secret chamber will be the place to look for in our Discord for the screenshots of what I'm talking about, so you don't feel as lost. So check out or keep an eye on the secret chamber. Is that right though? We're not putting them in the chat, right? We're putting them in the secret chamber. Norby, I think I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah. I will put them in this chamber as always.
Okay. Awesome. Great. So guys, keep a little eye on there. And jumping back into it. So a new checkout flow. So we still, on our payment systems, we did have an improvement 2 weeks ago as well. Now we expanded it so that the checkout flow is a lot more detailed. It gives a lot more transparency within the payment system of what fee goes where, what's going to cost how much. So purchasing requirements or paying as a requirement makes much more sense for everyone interacting with these features. And what we didn't have last time is that POAPs had a different checkout flow. So we did a rework on that. So they're now the POAP checkout flow is fully within the realms of what every other payment flow is or has. And more improvements on the POAP one. We so frequently use that, so we definitely needed some improvements on it. There's been some questions and misunderstandings of that checkout flow, so we made sure to put extra stuff into it. For example, it checks availability before payment is processed, so that it's technically impossible to pay for a POAP that isn't available anymore. And the access to the role now immediately refreshes upon payment. So we pay and automatically it's going to be refreshed. And there's one more thing that kind of comes as a consequence is that the end and or requirements aren't usable within the same role anymore. They weren't because of the unique nature of the POAP requirements. This is something to keep in mind as well. Next little checkup or check-in or thing to check is the UI updates that I was hinting at in the beginning of the call. So there's been something that was like not an essential thing, but it's been just bugging us, like the beauty aspect of guilds. So not all guilds chose a primary color for themselves, and that resulted in inconsistency on the user interface. So when you were on a guild page, two guild pages looked very different in terms of like background and colors and everything. So now every guild has a banner. It was kind of messy before this, but now we unified it and every guild gets a default banner and the Bellner collar. This way, the UI is much more consistent and pretty. So that's a good little update for the people who care about aesthetics with the products that we use. About the errors, we also did improvements on those. So we constantly, when you guys support or when you guys submit any errors or support questions through our interface, the intercom chat box on the Guild UI, we take all of that into accounting. And there has been a few error messages that has been looking very freaky. They looked very, long and scary with all these weird characters. And it was like harder to identify the issues for, like, as a user, we have no idea what that means. Of course, developers know what it means, but when a person is interacting with it, it's really hard to know. So we changed a few of them to make more sense and be more humanly readable, and kind of guide users on the interface. For example, when permissions are missing, we give guidance of granting permissions for the bot in Discord to work properly, which is pretty useful. It's going to come in handy. I hope you guys will feel a little bit of a difference if that ever comes up and you see it on the interface. So next thing, I have to find a better segue between the updates, by the way, because I always just say next update or next thing. I mean, it's probably fine, but let me know your ideas on that. So next thing, the new supported chains. So as kind of our BD or like business is going and the partners that we have and how the space grows, there's all the different chains that come into play and we'd like to integrate them. So this that we had 3 new ones. Zeta Chain Athens, which is a test net. Mainnet is coming later. The Zeta Chain mainnet is coming later to Guild once it's launched, because it's also not live yet. So the testnet is available though. We also integrated Scrolls Alpha testnet. I think that's a testnet too, but Scroll Alpha. And the third one is Sepolia, which is, yeah, that's the third one. It's great. So make sure that when we say we've integrated and support these 3 new chains, it just means that the assets that are on those blockchains can be queried and used as requirements on Guild. So that's what I mean when I say we integrated it. So any testnet token or NFTs or ERC20 tokens can be used as requirements from those chains. Another improvement is there has been a few communities that have been using OtterSpace for badges that we have integrated. And we've been asked to integrate the Polygon solution that they have. So when the OtterSpace users mint the badges on Polygon, they can also be used as requirements in Guild, because this synergy between the 2 tools have been shown to be pretty beneficial for a few communities. But so far we only had the Ethereum version live, and the OtterSpace happened so quickly because the Polygon integration. So sorry, rephrasing that. So the OtterSpace badges on Polygon integration to Guild happened in a few hours. We've been asked in, I think, our Guild Alpha chat, which is like a very small curated chat for founders that we have in our Telegram. And we've been asked if that's an option on Guild and if we would consider integrating it. And the devs shipped it in a few hours and it was live in like, I don't know, 3-4 hours after that. So it's been pretty crazy. Good teamwork. Shout out to the Guild dev wizards. And one more chain or interesting fact is we also, as you guys know, have been working with Base to support their community efforts and also as launch partners for the chain. And the new requirement that we launched recently, the wallet activity, which I still have to make quite a bit of a noise about, because it's the most amazing feature in a while, in my opinion, to identify Web3 citizens and like find people who are actually active on chain and do transactions and sign things and, you know, hold assets and transfer assets and all those types of cool things. And so we wanted to, in terms of the base community, we wanted to enable this feature, but it only made sense for them if they had the testnet available. So we shipped the base Girly integration for supporting these wallet activity requirements. It's been an interesting thing because for most queries, we are using Alchemy as a service for giving us information from different blockchains, but Alchemy does not support base Girly. So we made this integration fully from scratch for the team at Coinbase to be able to check all the little transactions and what's going on that testnet, so that the base community can use this to build their community strategies. It's been a fun ride. And this is the point where we get to the more interesting part. I'm also contemplating leaving this to the end, by the way, but maybe I shouldn't. Yeah, I'm going to leave this to the end. We're going to jump to community and I'll get back to the pins because I want to have more time to elaborate on those. So we'll skip that for a bit and we'll jump into the community updates. And I'll give it over to Hannah to say a few words here about communities that have joined us.
Okay, let me start the community section right away. So first things first, we just want to give, a piece of appreciation for New Hot community joining, the Guilds of Guild, which is Hashflow. We're really happy to have them with us. Just a little bit of background, they reached out to us through our support, that you can get through our interface. And we help them to, get their guild up and running. If you're not familiar with Hashflow, they are a decentralized exchange. And their guild is actually designed both for social growth engagement with certain roles actually that you can unlock with, fulfilling certain Twitter requirements. And also besides this, they are also using Guild for identifying their token holders and also their stakers, with the contract query requirement. They have it set up, nurturing their ecosystem this way. And I just want to give a little heads up for everyone who is interested joining their guild is our team enabled the option in their guild to purchase ERC20 requirements. So if anyone doesn't fulfill the requirements yet, we've got you covered with a seamless and secure transaction experience. So if you are not familiar what it means, we will share the link in the secret chamber where you can learn more about the requirement purchase with Guild. But long story short, if you don't have the token, you can just click there, purchase the requirement through Guild, and then you can become a Guild member in their Guild. So we're really happy to have them with us, and we are looking forward to, see their growth and supporting as much as we can. And after that, just jumping into another community update. I don't know if you guys were here before, actually, when the very first community stand-up happened, but I'm really proud of this one. They're really close to my heart. Their whole team is the Decentragora team launched their first Ultra card edition. It's an impact edition in which we have been honored with our own Guild XYZ card. And just a little bit of, details about what is it actually. These are not just ordinary cards, but these cards are designed to, help boost public goods and services. And there is, a certain amount of ETH that you can purchase these. It's like 0.005 ETH. And what is really great about it is 50% of their proceeds from each mint goes to the innovator honored in the cards. So, for example, we have the Guild XYZ cards and we have 50% from them, which is, we're really honored by this gesture from them. We love them so much. Just a little bit more more details about it is several organizations and individuals got their card in the first run. You can check all of them out in their site and make sure to mint ours if you want to hold a piece of this cool collectible. The first edition cards are always the coolest, so don't forget that. And shout out to our knight for making sure Guild can be part of this. So thank you so much for the entire Centragora team for this. I'm really proud of guys. You have a special place in my heart with that. We are sharing some pictures, like how the card is looking like in the secret chamber, so don't forget to check them out. And also, let me continue it. Or do you want to take it from here, Reka, with the Lego collection?
I could, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So a really interesting little thing is, I don't know if many of you know, but one of our merches that we go around conferences with is Lego sets that we make in-house from repurposed Legos in the shape of the Guild Castle or one of the little guys on our Twitter banner, and landmarks from those cities where these conferences are. And the Legos came to be, probably many of you heard this story before, if you've been around for a little bit. They came to be because one of our wonderful developers is actually a pretty big Lego person, and he's great at 3D as well. And another person who's working with us had an affiliation with a Lego repurposing company. And so we were like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity. So we basically just designed Legos for most bigger conferences that we went to and started this as merch. And so the new update is that for funsies, this amazing developer who's a pretty big Lego person, you guys see him in the server all the time. His handle in the server is Jonas. If you want to tag him in, give him a little love. But we're gonna put a link in the secret chamber and maybe in the stage chat as well that he made for these Legos, like a 3D website, and it's insane. And it was just for funsies as a side project. We don't sell this yet as merchandise because, I don't know, logistical issues. We're working on producing enough Lego to make this work. But the instructions can be found on the site. So if you have a bunch of Lego at home, you could make these out of different colors, which I think would be really fun to see. If you make it, make sure to share it with us. Yeah, thank you. That would be really fun to see. A lot of Lego castles and everything just from a bunch of different colors. I'd love that. It would be really interesting. But more, the cool part is if you guys are also into front end design and things, is how this website is built up. That's actually the point. The Lego, it's like 50-50, the point between the Lego and how the site looks. Okay, let's continue with more community things. We have made changes of the community setup and the permissions and everything. We might have noticed that we opened up the general chat for guilders again. We felt like we're ready for this circle again. See how long we can take to moderate the support questions that are coming in. On that note, I'd like to say again that the server isn't for support, and support questions will not be tolerated in the general chat, and multiple repeated questions will result in timeout from the server. We have a beautiful chat that's very proper for support integrated on the website, so please use that. We can have some better analytics and tagging and everything going on in there, so we can actually know the pressing issues aside from just answering questions all day in the server. So please respect that. These are the conditions. Otherwise, really happy to have more of you in conversation again, and looking forward to how that's gonna evolve and flourish. We also changed a little bit on the Gilder role. It requires now to have wallet activity as a requirement as well. You can see, to refresh the roles and to see the new requirements, you can go onto our guild side. In order to be eligible, you have to have a transaction more than 6 months ago on one of the following chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Arbitrum One, Base, testnet, sorry, Girly, or Mumbai. So these are requirements to be a guilder and be able to chat on the server. We wanted to make sure that part of the reason why we developed this feature and requirement is so that we have an automated system to identify people who are active in the space. And yeah, that kind of is, Web3 citizens. I don't know if you've heard this term, but it's a good way to describe people who have a little bit of experience with what Web3 is and what communities are and what these tools can provide, or at least know what a wallet is, which is what we wanted to have as a requirement. More changes are going to come into the community, but this time, I think this is the 4th or 5th time that we're changing stuff up in the past year and a half. We're rolling the changes out gradually and evaluating the impact every step of the way. We really aim to provide a path for members who wish to get more involved in our community to be able to do so and find their own adventure and their own interests. It's a never-ending task, and I'd really love to get more of your input. So prepare for a little temperature check, quiz, questionnaire about the community and how it feels like and what's missing and stuff like that in the next week. I'd love to pool more opinions for the upcoming changes so we can have a better idea of what to go with, and what ideas that we have might be actually not important for in the eyes of everyone else here. And then I'll give it over to Hannah. We had a fun little scavenger hunt happening on May 4th, and she'll say a few words about that.
Yes. So, as you may know, that the first Guild Scavenger Hunt happened 2 weeks ago on the 4th of May, basically, the original Star Wars Day. We had a series of clues, riddles, ciphers, for guilders to solve in order to find guilds on our side, which was a very new kind of, community event, community gathering. It was more like async, but with a spice of, having us on a voice channel also to, help you to get it solved if you just had some hiccups on the way. It highlighted several of our integrations that has, the contestants had to be familiar with these, in order to be able to solve the mystery. We had also POAPs as a reward for only the very first 50 guilders solving it. So the fastest you solved it, you could get the POAP. And the first POAP was actually minted in 1.5 hours. And the last POAP took 3 days to be minted, which is pretty impressive, because when I first saw the scavenger hunt, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be really, hard to solve. But someone was really, really, smart and solved it in less than 2 hours. So shout out to you. And I just want to give, a little bit of appreciation for Norby also, who actually just designed the whole scavenger hunt. So big congrats and thank you so much for all your work. This is really good. So we have a really big potential with it. And also it was a really great experience for us since we haven't done anything like this before. And, we were also on a tight deadline since the idea was actually formulated in our head on Tuesday. It was suggested in our chat with the Knights on Telegram, and we wanted to launch it. So we wanted to do it exactly on Thursday. So we had like 2 days to design, announce, execute the whole thing, but we did it. And you guys loved it so much. So I'm really proud of both our team and also to you. And in the end, we got some awesome feedback. We discovered how great of a tool for the scavenger hunt guild is actually to, onboard people and, teach you all how it's, happening with us. A case study piece is coming later this week about this. Norby is working on it, I know it, and we're going to be talking about how was it made, how you can use it, how you can make it for your own community to, involve and teach your members like about it. And Norby is also not only working on a study piece, but also he's going to make a workshop about how to build it in next Tuesday, if I'm not wrong about it. So we'll see. It was really fun, actually. I loved it. I even joined it from a supermarket because I wanted to be part of it.
Sorry, I was looking for the button. Thanks. Thanks, Anna, for sharing. And thank you, Norby, again. Shout out to you for leading this. And I really encourage you guys to take the opportunity to get his experience next week on Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks,
about-
guys. I aim to make more of this because I enjoyed making it. It was as much fun for me as for the contestants.
As you
Uh,
should. It
yeah,
has a great potential.
it makes it even better. Cool beans. Let's also do our little appreciation segment, which I was contemplating beginning the calls with that. This is something we installed last time on our last community call 2 weeks ago. Because I feel like there's so many of you doing little contributions and helps, and there's so many things we should be excited about and shouting out each other about. So we have like a short minute of appreciation segment. First of all, to Cardenas and Papa, who provided really helpful feedback about the scavenger hunt, and Cardenas, who also was the first one to solve it, like record time with everyone else who was solving the puzzle on May 4th. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to and kudos to Demoni who we met during the scavenger hunt and provided really useful feedback about the community in general. We're always really happy to hear what you think. It's nice to, know what we're doing and what it feels like, and not just from the perspective of the lab cooking up the new requirements and events and everything, but from how it feels in his experience. And also, as always, shout out to the Journal Club curators for next month's workshops or gathering the best knowledge from May, from all those articles to go through. It's, I think, our usuals. Logo, Brainwashed, myself, Louis, and Hannah. So thanks for us for being the curators and the keepers of the knowledge. Maybe this is a good segment to talk a tiny bit about more Journal Club. For Journal Club, we aim to keep it as kind of like a source of knowledge for community building and communities in general, and how to keep them healthy. So we find the hottest, newest, best knowledge out there in the space, and keep these discussions about, or hold these discussions around these topics, and sometimes, actually most cases, with the author themselves, which we're super lucky to be able to organize. We have a deeper insight of what the article actually meant. Hopefully this way we'll build up like a pretty big knowledge base about community, and with contributions from everyone to kind of co-create this gigantic knowledge base of summaries and why it's a good piece, and for everyone who's trying to deep dive into an area or expertise, become a better at an area of Web3 and community building, they can use it as a good resource. So that was great. And now we're jumping into what I was super excited about. Ending the community aspect and going a little bit back to the product part to kind of switch it up a little bit, make you guys dizzy with all the changes. So last bigger segment here today is that the guild pin is live and only in our guild. We're kind of soft launching this new feature. And yeah, before you ask what the hell is a guild pin, I'll tell you about it. It's one of our biggest releases in quite some time. So super exciting. Sorry, I got a drink. So what the heck is a guild pin? I know. Guild pins are non-transferable NFTs on Polygon. Later, it will be on other chains as well, of course. Well, we started on Polygon because it's cheap and it's cool and many people use it. They are a proof of join. So the core idea is that it signals belonging right from a member's wallets in across applications. So the idea is, we've been playing with this idea for quite a while. It wasn't an easy road to implement a feature like this. We had some technical difficulties and ideological difficulties, but we ended up coming to alignment on all of them. And even with the name, because as you can imagine, we had many names in mind of what we want to call these. So the purpose of the guild pin is to indicate to the community that and other Web3 citizens which community you belong to and how you've been a part of it. And how long have you been a part of it? Sorry. It's a claimable badge, an NFT, to show your support and belonging in the communities you're in. It is, a representation, an on-chain memory of your time and experience belonging and being a participant and a member of a community. Because your wallet is not just a wallet, as we know. I don't know if you guys read the big article by Gabby about the wallet not just being a wallet. It's a core part of your identity on the internet. So how beautiful that is whenever you're browsing in a marketplace or in another wallet application, or many applications are actually built on NFTs themselves, and to see all that you've been through, all your history and all the communities you feel a connection to, and they build up a part of you and this whole experience that you've been through together. I think that's a beautiful thing. And even with POAPs themselves, I wish POAPs were visible in normal wallets and NFT-based applications as well, not just through the POAP app, because there are so many of them are so beautiful and they signal so much of my Web3 experience offline and in person and online as well. So this feels a little bit like that. It's like, what do you want to show of yourself, and where do you belong the most? What do you feel like you connect to the most in terms of communities and ideas and people and their vision in a community? It's also giving a building block to build on. As we know, NFTs are great requirements for token gating and anything else moving forward. So this is an on-chain signal and a proud commemoration of a shared experience. You can use these as a base in any new community strategy or like a community strategy upgrade, as requirements to roles, as keys to access to a community, or in any other token gated platform as well, which is something to keep in mind, because these aren't only useful in Guild, but since they're on chain, they're useful everywhere else where NFTs make sense. Sorry. Wow. So pins.
It's usually like this. We have so much to share, so much to talk about. Yeah, I do have my water also. I'm just staring at it like when it's time to drink.
Yeah, and I also started out with a little bit of a sore throat, so I feel like I'm double crossing myself, but sorry if I cough a lot. Okay, so back to the pins. They also work as a constant source of on-chain marketing, essentially, or like brand building, because it's going to be everyone's going to represent who claims and has this, not only it's like a signaling of like, aha, you're also in this community, but it's like representing that and wrapping that everywhere where your wallet is connected in applications, marketplaces, and everywhere. And there's one more twist to this. All of the pins are ranked in the order of members claiming them, which just means that every single of these tokens is numbered, so that it's actually an awesome tool to show your commitment and how early you are in the community. How early were you a member of this? It's going to be very interesting to see. Sorry, oh my god. It's going to be very interesting to see that on chain. And, you join a community when it's 50 members, and 3 years down the line, when it's gigantic, multi-100,000 DAO, very successful. Imagine how proud you could be that you've been there and you saw their potential, and you have something to show for that. There's so many times where I've been, well, not so many, but a few times I've been early on a project and supporting them, and I have zero things to show. So this is a lovely way to commemorate a time and place where you stood by something, a community at it. So the earlier you mint the spins, the lower the number is going to be. Since they're non-transferable, it's not a means for financial speculation anyway. It's a speculation for early support and being early. I think that's the core idea. We didn't want to have like secondary marketplace for membership or like joining, That's the reason why they're non-transferable. We can also use these numbers later as requirements. So when a community admin is like, oh, you've been an early supporter of this community that has been successful. So I'm going to set up requirements if only the first 500 who joined and claim members and claim membership to participate in my community can have access to this conversation. Or if you've been in the early 50 members of this other community that I highly admire, you can come in take a primary seat at my event as a VIP person. So we want members to be vouching for communities early to show their trust, and having something to show for it. A practicality is that the minting for these costs 1 Matic to facilitate the operating costs for guild. It's only mintable in our guild for now. And yeah, like I said, we have not even communicated one bit, and a few thousand of you have already found it. It's insane. I'm blown away by the attention to detail and that you guys come back and check on things. It's crazy. It's blowing my mind. The feature is going to be gradually rolled out in communities for the following 2 weeks, before we enable it everywhere. But it's going to be available in every guild soon. So the release, because of the May 4th scavenger hunt was such a good experience and a good vibe, we're gonna have some of that experience with launching this in the next 2 weeks as well. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna drop little clues, much easier clues than the scavenger hunt on Star Wars. But they're gonna be still, it's gonna be clues. It's easier clues, but it's clues about every 2 days, about the community where the new credential minting can be found. So stay tuned for updates on that, and to prepare for the clue hunting and to kind of like give you more excitement about it. So those who claim the guild pin in our guild before we put out the first clue next week, that's when I'm going to close the allow list. They will get a new role in our guild that unlocks a new channel in our server, in the guild server, where we will share the times and the hints where the next ones will open the soonest. So if you want to participate and be early as heck and find as many of the pins as quickly as possible, I encourage you to start an our guild's pin, because then you'll be able to see this channel. That's going to be the rules of the following thing of we're going to share in this channel first and then move on to Twitter and the relevant groups to share the clues with the outside world for those who don't have this role. So it's definitely going to be prioritized, and the timing, it matters, because the earlier you see the clue, the earlier you can get in and claim the pin. And since there's numbers involved and everything, it kind of, if you want to be number 6 on everything, it kind of matters. And we'll also do a little voting in that temporary channel, where we send the news about where we should enable the credential next. So we do have launch partners that we are choosing and working with, but we do want to give you the opportunity to vote on which community you'd like to support with this, because the partners who we picked for this scavenger hunt campaign have a really big advantage of the growth, or taking advantage of this growth that it can give to their guilds and their communities. So if you have a community in mind that you'd like to support this way, we'll have a voting session, and you can submit guilds that you'd like to be partake in this early release. And one more thing, there will also be a meta guild, so like a new guild created for all the collectors of all the campaign credentials. So all our guild 1 and our 7-ish partners that we'll have, if you claim all those or just a few of those, there will be a new guild to join in, and it kind of works as a showcase space of seeing what you've collected out of all of those, kind of like a little leaderboard-ish situation. So that's about that. I'm very excited to get that started, and and also get your input where you think we should enable this next, because it's definitely a large benefit for every community that we involve in this campaign. Hannah, could I ask you to close the ceremony before I end up coughing again?
Of course. So as a closing, I just want to highlight it. For today's community call, it's a little bit different because we don't have any pops prepped, because Reka just, pitched the entire guild pin in our guild, and we want you, collectively just mint the guild pin all together. And also, besides this, I just want to close, today's session, with a little calendar note on what's coming next. So tomorrow, for all the wardens and knights, we are having our Journal Club at 6 p.m. In Central European, summertime zone. And tomorrow we will be discussing a thought-provoking piece curated by one of our, Power community member, Brainwashed. And in this piece, the author argues that you should stop thinking about non-participants as passive lurkers, but instead see them as active learners. And I just want to give another, highlight about this. This is such an interesting topic to talk about, because at the moment we are thinking about opening up the Journal Club for, a bigger part of our community, because also we just want to see you as active learners. And also there will be Journal Clubs coming to Twitter Spaces, also as, in a little bit of podcast vibe. So stay tuned for that one. Currently, for the wardens and for the knights, don't forget, we are having it tomorrow. See you there. And one more note on closing is Guild Block coming tomorrow, compiling all product updates from today. So everything that we've been talking about today, we're going to be, writing a piece and just publishing the piece tomorrow. So thank you so much for being here with us today. It was so great to have you all here. And don't forget that we are waiting there for you in the general chat for the general conversations, just connecting to one another. And if you are having some support troubles, I will be waiting for you in our new support system that you can reach on Guild XYZ. So thank you so much, everyone. And see you tomorrow and see you next week.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.